Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We left off at a turning point, but the true journey of this story begins now. The stakes are higher, the truths are deeper, and it's time to reveal the rest of the tale. Let's continue our story. Midnight Stories. The Last Train to Willow Creek. Part 2. The Passenger Who Never Arrived. Daniel Carter stood alone on the abandoned platform, staring at the old train ticket in his hand. The fog slowly disappeared. The sound of the train faded into the distance. But the question remained: how could a train that vanished 20 years ago return? And how could his father, a man everyone believed was dead, be connected to it? For the rest of the night, Daniel didn't sleep. He sat at his kitchen table, staring at the ticket under the dim light. He searched through old boxes that belonged to his father, old photographs, letters, documents, anything that could explain what happened. But there was one thing he noticed. Every memory of his father ended on the same date, November 14th, 2004, the night he disappeared. Daniel's father, Michael Carter, was a railway engineer. Everyone in Willow Creek remembered him as a quiet but brilliant man. He loved trains more than anything. But after the accident 20 years ago, nobody wanted to talk about him. The official story was simple. A train carrying passengers disappeared during a storm. No wreckage was ever found. No bodies. No explanation. The authorities eventually closed the case. But the people of Willow Creek had their own theory. They believed the train had entered the old tunnel outside town and never came back. The next morning, Daniel visited the town's oldest resident, a man named Henry Wilson. Everyone called him the man who remembers everything. Henry lived alone in a small wooden house near the forest. When Daniel showed him the train ticket, the old man's expression changed immediately. His hands started shaking. "Where did you get this?" Henry asked. Daniel hesitated. "The station." Henry looked at him in disbelief. "The station is closed." "I know." "Then how did you get a ticket from a train that disappeared 20 years ago?" Daniel looked directly at him. "Because the train came back." For several seconds, Henry said nothing. Then he walked to an old cabinet and removed a dusty box. Inside were newspaper articles, photographs, and handwritten notes. Henry placed one photograph on the table. It showed the missing train, the same black train Daniel had seen the night before. "This train was called the Willow Express," Henry said. "It carried 47 passengers, 47 people who were never seen again." Daniel looked closer. Then he saw something that made him freeze. His father was standing beside the train, not as a passenger, as the engineer. "Why was my father there?" Daniel asked. Henry looked away. "Because he was trying to stop it." Daniel frowned. "Stop what?" Henry took a deep breath. The train wasn't supposed to disappear. It wasn't an accident. It was a mistake. 20 years earlier, Michael Carter discovered something strange about the railway system. The Willow Express was scheduled to pass through an old tunnel that had been closed for years. But according to Michael's calculations, the tunnel was not empty. Something was hidden inside, something that someone wanted to keep secret. The night of the disappearance, Michael entered the tunnel with the train. He wanted answers, but the train never came out. Who knew about this? Daniel asked. Henry's face became serious. Everyone who mattered. The railway company, the town officials, even the police. Daniel stood up. You're saying they covered it up? Henry looked at him. I'm saying your father discovered something people were willing to kill for. That evening, Daniel returned home. The ticket was still in his pocket. He placed it on the table. Then something impossible happened. The date on the ticket changed. November 14th, 2004 disappeared. A new date appeared. Tomorrow's date, November 15th, 2026. And beneath it, a message appeared. ONE seat reserved. Daniel stepped back. He didn't understand. But deep inside, he already knew what he had to do. The train was coming back, and this time, he was going to be on it. The following night, Daniel arrived at Willow Creek Station. The town was silent. The old clock above the station suddenly started moving. A clock that had been broken for 20 years. The hands moved slowly until they reached midnight, 1200 hours. Then, the whistle returned. The fog appeared, and from the darkness, the black train arrived again, exactly as before. But this time, the doors opened, and Daniel stepped inside. The moment he entered, the doors closed behind him. The outside world disappeared. Inside the train, everything looked frozen in time. Old newspapers, old suitcases, old photographs. It was like stepping into the year 2004. Then he noticed something. The passengers. There were dozens of people sitting silently. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. Until one passenger turned around. An old man with familiar eyes. Daniel stopped breathing because he knew that face. Even after 20 years, he knew him. Father? The man slowly smiled. Daniel, I knew you would come. Part 2 has come to an end, but the story is far from over. The next chapter awaits. Relax, breathe, and let these calming tunes guide you into a peaceful night's sleep.